Soulless Dead Brotherhood, Chapter 16. The Tragedy. I got up the next morning. Dr. Patel was right. I shouldn't blame myself for a lot of these things, and I shouldn't stress too much. But at the same time, I should accept the responsibility. To be honest, I camped on it, and for a while, I actually wanted to tell him easier said than done. I'm just a kid, not a doctor. This isn't Doogie Howser. That's not how things work. Of course, I got over it. If I have the skill, I guess I have to put it to use. In this world, nobody eats for free. I kept telling myself that all through the day, as I got ready. I made my way into the breakfast table and I looked out the front window, only to see a thin coat of frost around the edge. My mother was bundling up my father and telling him to be careful, and that flu season should be kicking in any time. Clearly it was fall, but it was strangely cold. My father looked at me and said, "Well, the dead should be frozen up. We shouldn't have to worry about them if it keeps up like this. The only real issue we have to worry about is seasonal allergies and disease, maybe sickness here and there. Son, you do right to go get your coat. There's one in a box in your room. Go get it on." I ran out of the room, and as I walked and got the coat out, it was dusty. I brushed it off. It wasn't mine. I could tell it was somebody else. I couldn't help but think about the people that owned this before. Was it a kid? Was it an adult? Are they alive or dead? Who were they? I threw the jacket on and I could hear my parents talking. My dad was worried. Apparently some sickness had been starting to crop up at the clinic. My dad kept me in the back, really, doing a lot of the small administrative stuff, and sewing up little cuts and stuff like that. But he thinks that they're running out of medicine. My mother called out, "You think that's bad? Well, what about the other things we talked about last night?" My dad sighed as he rubbed the back of his head with his hand. "Yeah, I know. But let's not worry the boy." I made my way back in and we walked together down to the clinic. My dad said it was a slow day, so I could go hang out with Logan, Jake, and Dawson. I made my way outside and we were all pretty cold. Jake and Dawson were running little carts full of supplies to the gate, mostly hot food in a pot and some blankets. It was pretty cold, and as we walked through the grass, we could feel the crunching of the ice crystals. Apparently it rained a little bit, but it froze before it hit the ground. Logan spoke up as he left. "Do you think all the dead are frozen out there? Like some zombie popsicles?" Probably, I said. Dawson called out, "Well, we went out early this morning. Most of the animals are hunkered down. Luckily, we have enough dried food to last us this winter. Hopefully. That is, if nobody steals. Some rumors have been going around that people have been taking stuff, but we don't know where it's going. We don't want to accuse anybody because it's already pretty hair-trigger around here." It worried me, to be honest. I spoke up. "Well, let's get this stuff to the wall. You never want to know what's going to happen." We did our chores and we ran some supplies back and forth. For the next hour we were busy. And we were so busy we didn't even mind the cold. As we were making our way up the wall, we stopped and took a break. We were sitting around a small table that was set up out of a big spool that they use for power cables. The guys were playing cards and huddled around small fires to keep warm. We heard an engine in the distance, and one of the guards started to yell, "Look up! Look! Everybody!" A few of the guards raced up the small stairway on the wall and looked over. "What the hell is that?" "It's a vehicle of some sort." Before he could finish the sentence, a round popped off. We all jumped. Cards fell off the table, and the food that was in a bowl fell off. We all stood up, and one of the older adults told us to stay down on the ground. "Should we run away?" "No, if you run away, if the bullets pass through the wall somehow, they could tag you at waist level. Just stay down, just stay down." We all huddled down. We heard a truck stop, some sort of large vehicle. We could hear it idling, and we knew immediately that that's a diesel, Dawson said. It's some sort of, maybe an army truck? "No, don't be stupid," Jake called out. We heard some shouting, and we heard some men on the wall running back and forth. They grabbed guns off a small rack up above as we looked up. "This is the real deal," Logan said. "Everybody stay down, stay down." We could hear the men on the wall yelling, "Go back, go away now, or we'll shoot." As soon as he said that, we saw 2 men get shot. We saw them stagger back as the rounds hit them. They fell over the rails down towards us. One of them landed on his head, and we could hear a large snap. I jumped in terror and tried to get away. Dawson held me down as the rounds began to fire from the people outside the wall. Semi-automatics, full automatics, handguns, you name it, we hear the rounds whizzing by us, one by one. We could hear the men yelling, and we could hear people yelling and running towards the wall where we were at. A small bell was being rung, and more men came up towards the wall. The rounds bounced through and actually managed to take out a few people trying to run up to help. The rounds continued to rat-a-tat as they rung through the walls and cut through the small corrugated steel plates that we had set up. It went through them like a hot knife through butter. Logan stood up and grabbed a small rifle and walked his way up there. "Logan, what the hell are you doing?" Jake called out. Logan said, "I'm going to help fight for the town." As soon as he got up there, another guard got shot and fell down. Dawson pulled out his small .22 and said, "I'm going to help too." As Dawson and Logan made their way up the ladder, Jake and I laid huddled down. "What are we going to do? Come up here and fight," Logan said. The rounds began to be more and more violent. Machine guns and God knows what else were being sprayed at us like hellfire. One of the guards began to shout, "Hey, there's some more people coming through the other side of the road." "Are they friendly?" Another person yelled out from the bottom of the wall. "I don't know." Gunfire became more intense and more loud. I made my way up to the wall, and Jake did too. We mustered up the courage and began using rifles to fire down at the enemy. The rounds plinked and popped around our heads, zipping by us. Now the top of the wall had sandbags, so they were able to stop the bullets. Bullets don't do well against sand from what our manuals told us, so they made great walls. But the bottom was mostly tires and corrugated steel, so the rounds were just punching right through it and hitting some of the people walking up. I gritted my teeth, racked the bolt-action rifle, and fired. Blindly. I didn't even peep into the sights. Naturally, the round just splashed into the dirt and then into the asphalt. One after one I shot, and I had to reload. One of the men crawled over towards us. He was wounded, shot in the arm. "What the hell are you kids doing here?" Logan would peep over the wall with Dawson, and they would fire at the enemy. "We're trying to fight them. We're trying to stop them." "You're just kids. Get the heck out of here," the guy said. He took the gun from Dawson, his .22 that he used to hunt with, and tried to lean over the wall to fire, but as soon as he did, he was hit in the throat. He fell back. I fell over to grab him. Jake tried to hold him down as I tried to stop the bleeding. He was screaming and yelling in agony as the blood gurgled between every gasp. We tried to put pressure on the wound, but the man's arms and legs were flailing as he tried to keep the blood in himself. It was frightening. The blood was splashing all over us. It squirted on our faces and on our hands, and no matter what we did, we couldn't stop the bleeding. The gunfire kept going, and it didn't make anything easier. I began to yell out loud, "Would you guys stop firing? I'm trying to save this guy's life. Please, please stop. I don't want to be here." But no matter how loud I yelled, no matter how loud I screamed and cursed, the firing would not stop. Nobody would stop. Logan said, "There's some people over there. I think they're wanting to help us." "Bullshit," I called out. The rounds continued to whiz by us. They began to become fewer and fewer, but there were still people firing. By the time I was able to get the wrap around the man's neck that was wounded, he had already bled out. His eyes became smoky, and he stopped moving. His hands went limp and fell to the ground. "Sir?" I grabbed him by the lapel of his shirt. "Sir?" I began shaking him. "Wake up, sir! I stopped the bleeding. The bleeding stopped." Jake put his hand on my shoulder and said, "I think he's gone." "No! Damn it! No, he's not. He's fine. The tourniquet. I did it perfectly." Dawson came over. "Dan, we're gonna have to take care of him, you know." For a moment, it felt like the Browns had stopped firing by us. I looked up, and I couldn't hear any firing. Some guards further down the wall were yelling, telling people to get help and get a doctor. And I could hear the screams just outside the wall, most likely of people injured by the bullets. Logan pulled out a knife and placed it in the back of the man's head slowly and gently. The body twitched and jolted really hard. The mouth opened wide as blood continued to pour out, and then it relaxed and fell back to the ground. He yanked the knife out and put it back in his sheath. "Everybody, stay down. Something bad could happen." The captain of the guard walked over towards us as fast as he could, crouched. "What the hell are you kids still doing up here? I couldn't save him. I tried to save him. Damn it, kid, you need to get out of here," he yelled, between breaths. "Well, what am I supposed to do? I couldn't do my job." Dawson tried to grab me by my shirt, but I pushed him away. As we started to get up to move off of the wall, more rounds fired from down by the tank. A few of the guards popped back up and fired, and the people down on the side of the road began to fire as well. It was quiet. We just sat there. A few rounds whizzed by and everybody was ducked down. A minute passed by, and occasionally we would peep over. We could see people moving, but we weren't sure who the bad guys were. I sat there with the rifle clutched around my hands. I know I wasn't thinking right, but I couldn't stop looking at the guy that was shot. I could have saved him. I should have saved him. He didn't even have to die. He didn't need to get shot. My hands tightened around the rifle, so much so that my hands turned white. I gritted my teeth, biting into my lip. Blood trailed down my lip. I couldn't save him. I couldn't save him, I kept saying to myself. The head guard yelled out, "Cease fire! Cease fire!" And all along the wall, everybody backed off. I didn't hear that. I popped up over the wall and saw a man walking towards the wall. I raised my eye to the sights, and in one foul swoop and one quick motion, I fired off a round. The man staggered back as the round slammed through his chest. A small red mist came out. He dropped to his knees and fell to his back, and his friends ran to him. I racked the bolt as I fell back against the wall. "What the hell were you doing?" the captain said as he ripped the gun out of my hands and smacked me across the face. "They gave up! Those people just helped us! I told you to hold your fire! I didn't hear you, I told him! This is war! This isn't war, you idiot!" "Oh shit," he said. "Boys, get the hell off this wall and get this idiot out of here!" They yanked me off of the wall and pulled me down there. "Are you okay, Jesse? Are you okay, Jesse?" I kept hearing people yell, "Someone get a doctor!" "Who the hell's Jesse?" I yelled. Logan and Jake ran from my side towards the gate as they opened it, pulling it open as fast as they could desperately. Dawson said, "Danny, just wait here. I'll be right back." The three boys ran out the front gate. I could hear Logan shout, "Blake, Derek, what the hell just happened?" "Some kid just shot him. He's bleeding. He's not doing well. We'll bring him in here." I heard other people shouting and screaming, and there was a fight that was ensuing outside the door. After a few seconds, I mustered up the courage and started to walk towards the opening of the gate. Guards were walking out there. "Oh my God, we shot him! Who the hell was this?" It was Jesse, I think. "What the hell was he doing here? That traitor shouldn't be here," other people said. "Well, we gotta do something about this. The kid's bleeding out." "Hey, don't give up on me," one of the men said as he started to flash a flashlight in his eyes. He was putting pressure on the wound, and the men raised their guns against us. It was a small group, but they were well armed. "We tried to help you! Why do you think we came back?" The guards began to say, "Well, how the hell are we supposed to know you were enemies?" Blake and Derek walked up and said, "They're not our enemies. We went to find them. There was a misunderstanding." "Where the hell have you two boys been?" the guard said. A bunch of other people like, "Blake! Derek! Is that you?" they called out. There was mass confusion, and there was a lot going on. By this time, the small group had raised their firearms towards us, their hands shaking, most of them angry. "We need to help him. We need to get him behind the walls. We got a doctor." "We have a doctor, too," one of the men yelled out. "Let's get him the hell out of here, now!" Immediately, they picked Jesse up and took him away. Now, just over the hill to the left of our road was a small amount of houses, no less than a stone's throw away. They ran towards one of them. A few of the men lagged behind, slowly, keeping their guns pointing at us. "Don't any of you follow us, you understand?" Blake and Derek were running back and forth, pleading for everybody just to stop so that we could help him. "I remember," I said out loud. "That was the guy that ran away the day I got here." Logan came over. "What the hell were you thinking?" He pushed me. I fell back. Dawson came over and said, "Logan, take it easy. Had no idea. It was the heat of the moment. How was he supposed to know? We were getting shot at, you dumbass." Jake went over to Logan. "You need to calm down," as he held Logan back. You just shot him. You didn't even think about it. You picked your gun up and you just shot him in the chest. He's dying. There's blood on that ground. Are you happy?" Jake, as he was holding him back, said, "Dan, he doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that. You didn't know." Dawson picked me up. "Let's get you out of here." Guards quickly slammed the door shut and posted up. "We need more men," the captain called. We walked away. Later that day, there was a town meeting. I sat at the front of the room as an example of why kids shouldn't go to battle. My father ripped into the leadership. "Those kids should be nowhere near the wall. Why the hell were they up there? And why did my son have a gun? People would not have gotten shot if he didn't have a gun." People argued back and forth, but I wasn't listening to any of it. "This is the worst thing that could have happened." To be fair, that guy was a terrorist. He wasn't a terrorist, some of the people yelled out. It was just misunderstood. Blake and Derek walked up. When we found him, he was different. He told us how he went it alone, but he was willing to go back. Blake continued. "When we found him, he saved our tails. If he was some raving psychopath or some lunatic, he would have shot us on sight. But the simple fact is, he didn't. He took us in. And when things got bad, he had our back as much as we did. Because that's what survivalists do. And yes, he made some mistakes. And yes, he beat up some of our guards. But the last time I checked, you guys weren't exactly hospitable to him. You guys didn't take the responsibility. You waited for someone else to make the move. And the handful of people that did, you got angry with because it didn't tailor-make to what you wanted. You people are to blame. The people are always to blame." Derek spoke up. "Well, where the hell is he? He just went to one of the small townships. Let's just go in there and retrieve all of them. They had their guns pointed at us," Derek said. Blake continued on. "If anything, they're going to trust us." What little time he was gone, they formed a pretty tight-knit group. And the fact that you just shot their leader? Do you think anybody's going to want to hear from you? If they're wise, they're halfway to Tim Duck too at this point. "There's no way he could have survived," my dad spoke up. He was shot in the chest." One of the men spoke up. "It's true, I saw it. There was a lot of blood out there, and it's cold. They said they had a doctor, but I don't know if that was true or not. I'm sure by the time they got him to that house, he was dead. I looked over at Blake and Derek, who still had blood on them. I didn't know what to think. My father stood up again and walked towards the front. I was sitting in a chair, looking down at my hands, not trying to think about anything. My son had to fight today. He was shot at. He watched people get killed. I don't even know where this blood came from, he stuttered. He was clearly flustered. I couldn't save him, I said. Excuse me, son? He leaned down. With tears in my eyes, I yelled out, I couldn't save him! Who, Jesse? The man? Son, you didn't mean any of it. You had a rifle, you were in a situation, you shot. You shouldn't even been there. It's not your fault. No, the man who got shot. One of the guards. I couldn't save him. So I thought that if I shot one of them, I could make up for it. I could make up for it. But I was wrong. I'm sorry. Logan, Jake, Dawson, I'm so sorry. The three of them were sitting up front. Logan looked up at me. I didn't know what to expect. He walked up, put his hand on my shoulder. It's okay, man. You didn't know. You didn't know. He didn't make eye contact because his eyes were searching. Nothing in front of us, nothing in the physical plane, but he was just looking for the right words. You didn't know. But it's okay. At least he doesn't have to deal with any of this anymore, huh? He smirked. It's okay, bro. The whole room got quiet. Jake and Dawson quietly made their way to the front. Logan looked up. His parents were out there. All of our parents were. This is my brother. And I knew Jesse. He's dead. He made a mistake. And calling him a terrorist or calling him misunderstood doesn't change that fact. He made mistakes. He tried. And unfortunately he died. His voice quivered. But I got my friends here. And yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been there. Maybe we shouldn't have grabbed those guns and fired back. I don't think anybody should have been there. Nobody should have been firing. We shouldn't try to hurt ourselves or tear each other down. What happened, happened. It's in the past. Now we gotta get the heck over it. He looked down at me and his grip tightened on my shoulder. This is my family now. And I'm sorry to the parents that are angry. I really am. I'm just as upset as everybody else. But what happened, happened. Survival of the fittest. We learned that in group. We learned that in school. We learned that when we were learning all of our new technical skills you guys have been teaching us. We need to stay strong. Danny, he looked at me. It's gonna be okay. It's just one more tragedy to get over. One more hill to climb.